With the election of Zohran Mamdani coming up in New York City, a viral post is going around from Homath, also known as Psychomath. Homath, you trying to rebrand into a bigger, broader picture? Because I am for it. Homath, I think, is a bit anti-woman. How could I have come to that conclusion? And I don't think he's factually wrong for the most part. And so when it comes to a hyper-focused channel, it may seem like he generally just doesn't like women. But I think the reality of Homath is that, again, the channel is very focused on issues pertaining to women, politics, and their behaviors. I like to point out issues of men as well, because I actually believe the bigger problem is not women in elections and things like this. It's that weak men allow for problems to arise. Now, hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. A post went viral where a woman took a picture of herself saying, "I just voted for Zohran Mamdani." And it just, why? You posted a picture of yourself. What does that have to do with anything? What we're getting from all this is I'm going to break down the problems of women in politics. Straight up. Because I don't believe that individuals are ever the problem for the most part. I mean, there are individuals who are problems. The challenge we face, my friends, is generalities. And the way electoral politics works at such a massive scale, generalities are law. So by all means, you can enter a community where all the women are based AF and are voting for great policies alongside the men. But over a long enough period of time, in a large enough sample, there are slight differences that become more and more pronounced and visible. To put it simply, if you get 10 guys and 10 girls, it's very possible that everybody's aligned politically. The women are going to vote for policies the men agree with and leads to a functioning society. But let's say the deviation rate among females for their voting patterns is 0.1%, something that typically doesn't manifest in a group of 10. 0.1% though. What happens when you get to 1,000 people? What happens when you get to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 1 million people? You're not talking about, when you're scaling up to the size of the United States with, let's just say, 330 million people, roughly half the country, 165 million women. And you're then looking at 100,000+ that are deviating. And the voting patterns start to then skew a little bit. Now, honestly, I think the voting pattern is much more than 0.1%. And so the issue is, again, at a small scale, you're probably fine when you're like, women are going to be involved in the electoral process. And there's a lot of women who are going to get offended by me saying this. I mean, I've even argued with my wife about it quite a bit. The issue is never the individuals. It's what women do at scale, what men do at scale. And it's not entirely unique to women. And I believe the problem largely exists because of weak men. But we'll talk about the issue of women using this video and posts by Homath, and I'll go over the data for you. So the first thing I'll say is subscribe to this channel. I'm going to say it again, subscribe, click the subscribe button, because I got a video with like 500,000 on this channel, and this new channel's got 70K, and I'm like, guys, 170,000 of you watched this video and did not subscribe. Click that subscribe button right now, and let's talk about shockingly offensive things, which is going to piss off a lot of ladies. We had this video from Homath, Emily Saves America-based right-wing e-girl, and it's really funny. Let me play the intro to it for you, and let's roll.
But the amount of little 19-year-old white boys in MAGA hats who love to send me messages about how I need to find God and I'm a degenerate and all this, why don't you worry about yourself, okay? I'm vibing. I'm crushing it. I'm having fun.
Right-wing e-girl Twitter drama. If you haven't seen it, good. Don't see it. I'll tell you about it. There was a great big cat fight on Twitter recently, and it was engaging, by which I mean evidence that women do not belong in politics. Basically, Sarah Stock, young, pretty, right-wing e-girl, got engaged, and she was showered with congratulations. Just kidding, everyone had a problem with it. It took about 10 minutes to go from, I'm getting married, to, pause and read if you want.
What is this? You suck BD and probably have, oh my God. Pearl says, Morgan, you are a single mother with a public video admitting you have HPV. You may want to say this. What is,
You may have heard the phrase, the personal is political. It basically means your emotions are going to shape your beliefs, and female emotions are made of plutonium. You need to store them carefully, and when they become unstable, they cannot be contained. So why does this matter? Why am I telling you about right-wing e-girl Twitter drama? Well, number one, it gets clicks. And number two, it's going to help me teach you something that
Fair
you
point,
need
it gets
to know.
clicks.
I upgraded my holy order chart. What you need to know is the difference between providing and deserving. I'm going to use these red and blue arrows for provide and deserve. Right-wing e-girls are a great way to teach this because even when women say they are conservative, they are still women, and women deserve. Deserving is what they do. Women are natural deservers. Their default setting is table. And that's okay as long as they are deserving from people who agree that they deserve and want to provide. If people are allowed to deserve things from other people who don't agree that they deserve it, that's a big problem. It breaks this whole chain because if you deserve, someone else must provide. And if they don't want to provide, then they stop providing.
So there's a few points I want to address, and then there's a lot. I got a lot to go through. He makes great points talking about the generalities of women. I don't think there's anything wrong with women being women. I don't think there's anything. What offends me is that women are offended by being women. Not all women, feminists. And so I'll put it like this: women are deserving. Every single one of them is deserving. That's it. Sorry, guys. Have a nice day. The reason why is because women make babies. Men do not. Men contribute to the baby-making process, but women's bodies are literally the machine by which the baby is created and birthed and nurtured even after the baby is created. What this means is, from an evolutionary standpoint, men fight to provide for women so that women can raise families. Now, what does that mean in the political? It means that women want stuff. They think they deserve stuff because they always have and always will. But that manifests in a very dangerous way politically. When a politician promises things that can't be promised, women just say, well, I deserve it. This is why you tend to see females voting the left. It's why 70+% of millennial women are left-leaning or far left, all Democrat, and men tend not to be. This is not to say there's anything wrong with women being women. It's talking about the generalities at scale of how women are going to influence politics in any given nation based on the I deserve mentality. I made this argument in our last Culture War Live event. I want to stress this right now, guys. You got to buy tickets to this event, especially if you're interested in the subject matter. The Culture War podcast live in DC, November 8th, Dating in the Modern Age. Emily Saves America is going to be there. Myron Gaines, Brian Shapiro, Alex Stein, me. Brian, of course, is a liberal guy. And we're going to be having this debate. So again, click the link in the description below. Come to the event. It's going to get rowdy. But my point was that women must be demanding of men. And I'll tell you why. If you go back in time, cavemen, there's a woman who is demure and not demanding. She says, my husband is perfect the way he is. She says, you're a good man and I'm attracted to you. And that guy says, okay. One day the man brings home a bundle of fish that he caught fishing. And he says, beautiful wife and children, I was able to catch but enough fish for all of us to eat dinner tonight. And wife says, okay, husband, thank you. Meanwhile, across the old Rocky Way in another cave, there is a guy who brings home a bushel of fish for his family. And he goes, wife and children, here are my fish. And she goes, is that all you brought home is 5 fish? What are we going to do with 5 fish? It's enough fish for the whole night. What do you want me to do? I'm one guy. She goes, no, I want 10 fish. 10 fish. How am I supposed to get 10? You go back out there and you get more fish? Oh, the wife won't stop nagging me. The fish is never enough. Guess what happens? Guess who survives? And I'm exaggerating a little bit. Obviously, a stable, loving relationship where the wife says, please get extra fish. What ends up happening? Well, the guy who is always just good enough doesn't bring home extra. And so when winter comes around, again, we're talking about northern countries where most humans live in the northern hemisphere, but you're going to have some kind of winter. And in these places across Europe, even in Asian cultures, the man who had the wife who says you have to do more. Winter comes, and the husband who's just good enough, and the wife who didn't complain, she says, I guess we have no food. And he goes, I tried my best. And then they starve to death. And then the wife who was always saying, do more, I want more, I deserve more. I'll leave you if you don't bring. Winter comes, and they got extra food. And she says, I'm glad you got the extra food. Now, why didn't you get more? Now, I'm not trying to make it seem like all women are always nagging and nasty. The point is, there's a reason why women are always going to be in a state of more, more, more. because the men who just provide the bare minimum did not survive disasters. This is a natural tendency among women, which means, where are we now? We take a look at the electoral maps, and it's kind of obvious. Women vote commie Zohran Mamdani. Let me show you the actual tweet in question. So Ben M. Freeman tweets, "Do not vote for Zohran Mamdani." And Bailey Moon on X says, "Too bad I did today," with a picture of her. Oh, so cute. It is the cringiest thing. Lady, get out of politics. You're allowed to be a young, attractive woman and take pictures of yourself and share them with men that you're trying to attract into having a mate, to have a mate. But in politics, therein lies the problem. Generalities. This one woman is not representative of all women everywhere, and I understand that. And I certainly blame men just as much as I blame women. This is not a video just say women are bad. It's to talk about the generalities of what happens at scale with women in politics. Don't get me wrong, men are problems here too. The problem that we are facing in this country is not because women vote in bad ways, and you've got people saying repeal the 19th. It's because weak men enable bad women. That's it. And when we protect everyone over a long enough period of time, men and women will create a safe space for people who normally would not survive to survive and be involved in politics. It's the ebb and flow of reality, of human civilization. I'm not saying people should die. I don't want people to get hurt. But you got to understand, if strong men create good times, this means weak people in general, men and women, survive, expand, and grow. And then your society is burdened by a plethora of weak people who consume without producing. Any organization, any machine that exports more energy than it imports will collapse. That's an obvious fact. Sometimes you need to do it. Got to lose a weight. Calories in, calories out. You know what I'm saying? Exercise. But like our society, we've grown figuratively fat. And so with this woman, I want to point out a few things. The selfie, what is she doing? She's virtue signaling to other women to fit in with the social hive, just the way it is. I want to show you this video. I have it from Nick Shirley right here. You may have seen this. I'm going to play this video for you, and it is one of the greatest videos ever. Let me refresh it. You know, the annoying thing is like the audio on these videos doesn't play.
Illegal immigrants.
Let's try that again. You got to pause it right away. Then you got to unmute it. Then
Do you support the deportation of illegal immigrants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. This man is asked, do you support the deportation of illegal immigrants? Watch what happens.
Okay. She's saying she doesn't.
If they're illegal, then yeah.
She says, what are you talking about? And the man says, if they're illegal, then yeah. She looks at him and shakes her head. He blinks.
Do you not support the deportation
She then looks at the camera and Nick asks, do you not support the deportation of illegal
of
immigrants?
illegal migrants? And why not? He does and you don't.
It's not illegal.
It's not illegal to enter the country illegally? What? 8 U.S.C. 1325, 8 U.S.C. 1326. Look them up. It's been codified by Congress for a very long time. What? Now watch this.
Okay. If someone crossed over the border illegally, should they be deported?
Look at this pathetic loser of a man. Nick just looks at the camera like, wait a minute.
I'm not too sure about that.
I'm not too sure about that. Guys.
Hope I didn't just ruin their relationship.
Okay. So when we see these videos, and this is the point I was trying to make about Homath in the beginning. I don't think Homath hates women. I think he loves women. I think he very much wants to find a good woman. Pointing out issues of women in politics at scale does not mean that all women are bad and you hate women. Thus, I do think it's important to point out men like this. This man is the problem. Women will always be women. Men will always be men. But over a long enough period of time, hard times make strong men. Strong men make good times. Good times make weak men. Weak men make hard times. The reality of it is actually quite scary. The truth is, it's not that good times make weak men. It's that good times allow weak men to survive for a long time. And that's the harsh reality. Now, liberals can say whatever nasty thing they want. I'm talking science. Okay, when you're in a blizzard, like an ice age, called Hard Times. Nobody made it happen. It's nobody's fault. Weak men die. Strong men survive. That's just it. Sometimes those strong men do nasty, awful, evil things in order to survive. That's it. Nobody made that happen. You take a look at the fourth, what do you call it? The Strauss-Howe generational theory, the fourth turning, etc. World War II. It's brutal. A lot of men died. And it's not always just about the strongest. Sometimes it's luck. You know what I mean? But these guys come back, the greatest generation, chiseled, having faced down, what now, 2 world wars, basically, depressions. Wow. My grandpa was carved out of stone, let me tell you what. He'd eat moldy bread. You shouldn't do that, but he didn't care. Carved out of stone. Imagine him. I remember one day I made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then I noticed the bread was moldy. And I went, ah. And he was like, what's the problem? And I was like, oh, the bread's moldy. He's like, so what? And I was like, well, I can't eat that. He grabs it and he just and eats it. And he's like, who cares? Well, you know, the Great Depression was something fierce, right? And that's a chiseled man. To be fair, you can get sick from eating moldy bread, so don't do it. But, you know, he ate it anyway. Look at this guy. This guy's a wad of cookie dough. The young woman looks at him and says, it's not illegal to illegally enter the country. What? Does your brain not work, lady? Yeah, well, apparently. You see, another big factor to all of this women in politics stuff, women are socially driven and men are, let me rephrase, women are subjectively driven, men are objectively driven. Men tend to feel rewarded when they accomplish a goal. Now, sometimes that does involve being accepted by other people. Fact, I can't speak for anything other than like a skate contest, right? But you're in a competition and you succeed in that competition and everyone's screaming and cheering for you, it feels good. But here's the thing. For most guys, they get to that level because doing the thing felt good already. So here's the reality. Men and women are largely the same. Almost entirely in most ways that matter for a human race. But they differ in some of the most important ways as well. Surprise, surprise, men and women are different. What I'm trying to say is if you zoom out far enough and you looked at humanity, what would you see? You'd see a bunch of little dots consuming and pooping. And that's for the most part all it is. Very similar. They seek out food, they go to the bathroom. But when you zoom in at the smaller levels, you notice big differences that manifest in society. Now, again, if you had a village of 100 men and 100 women, you might find the women all basically aligning with the men's views, except for a few spinsters, perhaps. What happens when you have 160 million women? Well, even if it's a small percentage of deviation, you're going to have a massive effect. Let me tell you about scale and value. So we're working on pool water. That's our castbrew.com pool water brand. And we thought we'd have pre-sales up by now, but we're actually navigating what makes more sense. Just having a cheaper product because we're trying to, it's a gag, or making it sustainable and make it make sense. So one of the options was the bottles all come in shrink wrapped. So you get 24, they put it in a box, and then they put plastic over it, heat it, and the plastic tightens around the bottles. And I said, well, it's cheap. It's very cheap. But I'm not here to make a cheap product. That was, we could. The goal is we want to make something that's a little bit better. So we want to reduce the amount of plastic we're using, despite the fact we understand there's still plastic in the caps, and we're not going to try and market this any. So we're like, it might be 25 instead of $20. We'll see. But here's the deal. How do we get the price down like Topo Chico or Mineragua? $1 for 12-ounce bottle with a crown cap? Dang. Hey, bottles and shipping, it's all real expensive. Well, the reality is they sell billions of bottles. Coke does every year. So for us, if we sell 100 bottles, we have to make $1 or $2 per pack if we want to pay staff, cover shipping. But what if you're selling tens of millions of bottles? You only need a penny, because then you're going to be making millions of dollars from volume. And that's how these big companies tend to work. And you get it, and you know this. Let me show you, this is really funny. I asked our woke friend, ChatGPT, how many females have won the chess world championship? Only one woman has ever won the overall open world chess championship. None. Huh? However, if you mean the women's world chess championship, no, I didn't say that. I responded, only one? None? Only one woman? Good catch. Let me clarify. 0 women have ever won the Open World Chess Championship. Indeed, my friends. Major league sports are not men's divisions. The NBA is not a men's division. It is an open division. Just so happens that the only people who ever seem to be at the top levels are men. Chess is also open. Men and women are allowed to compete, and women do. And not a single woman has ever won, going back to 1886. Why? I mean, come on. Maybe the argument, well, women don't play because society said women should. Fine, but over a long enough period of time, you'd think there'd be one. What's going on? Women's World Chess Championship, 18 women. Well, I don't care about that. I said, how is it possible? How is that possible? Certainly women and men are just as smart as each other. I love this so much. Yes, you're absolutely right that intelligence isn't the issue. Men and women are equally intelligent on average. I love it. I love it. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. The average height of a woman is 5'4". The woman then responds, but I'm 5'6", though. And then the man sips his coffee. The meme is that women don't seem to understand averages and scale. Now, obviously, this is funny because women right now are responding, being like, I totally understand. Oh, it's paradoxical. No, it's mimetic. No, it's meta. I understand. Many, if not a large faction, even 49% of women understand generalities and averages. The point is, quite literally this. On average, women tend to respond this way. So I responded with, you said men and women are similar IQ on average, but we aren't talking about on average. We're talking about a position only one person can have. One person can have the title per year of chess champion. One out of every person on the planet. So averages don't matter. Excellent point. IQ variance. They point out that men have a slightly higher variance. Oh, heavens to Betsy. And there you go. Welcome to the greater male variability hypothesis, which plays a massive role in politics. Men are both very, very, very stupid and very, very, very smart relative to women. And it makes sense. Women don't need to be either. Women are the caretakers and creators of life. And for some reason, women are offended by this. Not all women. I can hear you, ladies. I'm saying feminism exists in modern politics because a large portion of women are offended at the idea of being a woman. So when I see a woman and she's like, I have babies. I'm like, wow, that's really important for society. And it's tremendous work. It's very difficult. And I am eternally grateful to my wife. She takes care of the baby. She loves doing it. She's very, very good at it. And it's a lot of work. I'm not cut out for it. I can't feed a baby. Bottles, not real. That's a job for women. And it's a proud job women should have, and they should be happy to. And I see the way women react to babies. Babies are celebrities to women. Like, we're walking down the street with the baby, and all the women are like, oh, like they're excited to meet the baby. They really are. I respect it, and I love it, and I love women for that. But there are many feminist and liberal women who, for some reason, hate the idea, and they want to be men instead. Well, what do men do? It was when I was talking to my wife and, I made the joke, bitches be crazy, yo, which is a joke. And then she was like, women are crazy? I watch what you guys do. Guys are nuts. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, on the mini ramp? I was like, oh, yeah. And then I think about all the times we've had professional skateboarders like jumping off the walls and a guy who broke his femur. And I'm like, you're right. Men are crazy in a different way. Everybody's somewhat crazy to some degree, pushing the limits. Women need men who will provide for them in excess. And they have every right to because they need it. A woman who has more than she needs is more likely to survive and have more babies. You need an energy surplus to create life, not energy stagnation. And men who are willing to take risks and are able to and survive are more likely to succeed. Thus, men and women equally have their problems. There are guys who get us into wars or make crazy gambits. There are women who get us into wars for different reasons. But I want you to look at this greater male variability hypothesis and now understand how it manifests in politics. Politics and political spaces are not won by the stupid. They're won by the driven and the smart. And as you can see with the green line on the screen, there are substantially more driven and intelligent men than there are driven and intelligent women. However, unfortunately for women, there's a lot of really dumb guys. So a society that says men by default are going to hold positions in the household or otherwise creates a problem. Women are going to encounter a ton of really dumb guys, and it's going to cause them problems, and that sucks. However, when it comes to electoral politics, you're going to have really dumb guys voting for women because they want to get laid, like the man I already showed you. This man is as dumb as a box of rocks and lacks the testosterone to count. He should have told that young woman when she was like, it's not illegal. He should have said, listen, I have no problem with talking about protecting legal immigrants and people who have done their due diligence. But the criminals, the people who've broken the laws of this country, I'm not playing games. I am not lacking passion or empathy. I'm saying there has to be rules. Otherwise, criminals rape and abuse and beat women and steal from them and burn down our social order. Maybe she would have been attracted to him a little bit more, but what is this stupid game he's hoping to get rewarded with, if you know what I mean? Cringe. Anyway, the sad reality of politics is going to be this. For the average woman, imagine what it must be like. You're walking down the street and you meet a guy and he seems fairly normal and respectable and he might be smarter than you, but you don't know. Then you meet a guy who's real dumb and you're like, oh my God, why is this guy a manager? This is ridiculous. See, unfortunately, politics, positions of power are held by very few. So averages don't matter. What does that mean? We want a system where everybody above 10 are in charge. See, the scale goes -5, 0, 5, 10, 15. And unfortunately for women, very few of them surpass 10. I don't necessarily know what they're trying to say with the number other than just to represent greater male variability. A lot more men, and thus chess. Why is it that there has never been a female chess champion? Because if you have only one champion every year, and you have billions of people on the planet, and maybe tens of millions playing chess, there's going to be, let's just say, 800,000 top-tier men and 8,000 top-tier women. When you look at the scale, the likelihood that a woman is going to win, slim. And so I take a look at things like Fortune 500 companies and positions of power. Politics is social, subjective. And thus, you'll get Zohran Mamdani saying, vote for me and I'll give you free stuff. And the women are like, I want free stuff. It's what women have always wanted. Men don't vote that way because men want to earn and make the stuff. And they want to feel like they're creating and providing. And here we are. A system that is bound to collapse. And, you know, it's funny is totalitarianism is the end result. It's an ebb and flow, right? You take a look at the Bolshevik Revolution. They say that with the French Revolution and the Bolsheviks, it's when women were deeply involved in politics, you got a rise in this kind of social order breakdown. Well, the Soviet Union sucked, everybody suffered and starved, and the system failed because totalitarianism in hard times is what happens when you have weak governance. Now, fascism, as we saw it, wasn't, I wouldn't describe it as a good system. Strong leadership with a pragmatic mind can be done properly. People can have their vices and their virtues and their freedoms. There will be some fault. There has to be a little give in the system. But when the system goes sour, like with the communist revolution, you'll get a backlash. And what we're seeing now is, for a long time, men were tolerant. And they said, listen, do your thing. Okay? Why? Because we're in control. But over a long enough period of time, more and more men became like this and pandered to women. Instead of leading men and women, they said, I'll say whatever you want to get what I need. We call this the sneaky fucker. It's an actual academic term for men who manipulate to have children as opposed to men who lead to have children. Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The end result, I think, is fairly obvious. You're going to get women who post pictures of themselves smiling. She doesn't care about politics. She doesn't even know the function of politics. Not all women are that way, but many of them are. What do you think is going to happen? The system will collapse because these women care more about social order than merit. Go back in time. Think about it. The gender roles of females, a cohesive and functioning tribe, needing to work together. So what do? They march in lockstep with each other. If you deviate, they will attack you. Men have to fight a bear off. So with greater male variability, disagreeableness actually worked out really well. 10 guys go out. They all disagree. Only one of them was right. He comes home and he has all the babies. That's how it worked. And this is where we are. Greater male variability, disagreeableness, whatever it may be. When a system becomes comfortable and safe, weak men survive when normally they would not. Again, I'm not saying it's good that people die, but it's just a thing that will happen. And now we're going to have very hard times. It's going to cause conflict. And everybody who says that it won't happen or it can't happen, it's an inevitability. Be it not now. There is no system by which we avert the order or the natural cycles of humanity. Weak men will make hard times. That's just it. You can cry about it. You can dread it, run from it. Destiny comes all the same. I'll leave it there. Smash the like button, share the show, subscribe to this channel. Thank you all so much for hanging out. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Or watch my other channels. I know most of you already do, so we'll see you there.